Hello and welcome to United in Differences, a North Dakota Department of Water Resources and Water Resource Districts presentation. This is the final installment of the Department of Water Resources Watershed Thread. Aaron Carranza, Director of the Regulatory Division, will host this odyssey of education and information.
Thank you. Today, we'll be going over several topics related to the complex relationship between the department and the water resource districts in the state. Today, we'll be covering the Department of Water Resources and Water Resource District history, water resource district roles, project funding, regulatory roles, assessment projects, and appeals. We will begin with the history of the department. The Office of the State Engineer was created in 1905 during the 9th Legislative Assembly with the creation of the position of State Engineer, a position at the time that was appointed by the governor and confirmed by the State Senate for a 4-year term. The State Engineer had authority to appropriate water, manage drainage, promote irrigation, act as the highway commissioner, and act as the coal mine inspector. Did you know that originally the state engineer had to submit a bond to the tune of $5,000 to be able to accept the role, which in today's dollars would be well over $160,000. 32 years later, the State Water Conservation Commission was born, now called the State Water Commission. After years of drought in the 1930s, the North Dakota legislature recognized the need for a new agency focused on water project development. The State Water Conservation Commission was created in 1937 during the 25th Legislative Assembly to investigate, plan, construct, and develop water projects. The state engineer was to act as the chief technical advisor to the newly created commission in matters pertaining to, quote, water resources, water supply, and construction of reclamation projects, unquote, as well as perform all other duties as directed in the 1905 session laws. This legislation also shifted the state engineer's selection from governor appointed to the newly created commission appointed. During the 67th Legislative Assembly in 2021, the legislature combined the agency-related duties of the State Water Commission agency and the Office of the State Engineer into the newly formed North Dakota Department of Water Resources. The State Water Commission as a commission remains as the governor-appointed commission after the department's transformation. This is the organizational chart of the department as of January 8th, 2025. The date Director Reese Haas took over leadership of the cabinet agency as appointed by Governor Kelly Armstrong. This chart also shows the interplay between the State Water Commission and the department. Next, we move on to the even longer history of water resource districts. The first iteration of what will eventually become water resource districts began during the 4th legislative session in 1895 with the establishment of drain boards. Drain boards were established to provide for the drainage of agricultural lands through the creation of legal drains. Next, the 24th Legislative Assembly in 1935 established water conservation districts while keeping drain boards intact. Water conservation districts were responsible for broad range of water management and water development matters locally. This legislation also added the title of State Water Conservation Commissioner to the state engineer, which lasted approximately one biennium until the creation of the State Water Conservation Commission. This piece of legislation also directed the State Water Conservation Commissioner to, quote, disregard township and county boundaries and shall consider only the drainage area, end quote, in establishing water conservation districts. This is our first evidence of a legislatively directed watershed approach to water management. Next, the 35th Legislative Assembly in 1957 changed water conservation districts to water conservation and flood control districts. Then again, in 1973, during the 43rd Legislative Assembly, water conservation and flood control districts were changed to water management districts. And during this 1973 change, all land area in the state must be within a water management district. Finally, in the 47th Legislative Assembly in 1981, drain boards were merged with water management districts to create a singular water resource district, which remain today. The term legal drain was changed to assessment drain. During the legislative process in 1981, there was a legislative push to change water management district boundaries to watershed boundaries as opposed to political boundaries, but the effort ultimately failed. Joint water resource districts were also established at this time. Now, after all that happy little history, we will now further explore the responsibilities of the department and water resource districts that make up the water management tapestry here in North Dakota. Water resource management in North Dakota is locally driven. Water Resource Board membership is appointed by the County Commission. With few exceptions, the majority of water management authority and responsibility rests at the local level. These authorities include the ability to create or sponsor projects with or without assessments. This includes dams, drains, dikes, and other flood control projects. Water resource districts currently have the authority to voluntarily form joint water resource districts with another water resource district or districts. This joint water resource district can be for a specific project or for general water management over the joint area. Water resource districts also currently have the authority to petition the State Water Commission for the formation and modification of a water resource district based on watershed boundaries. This effort includes an investigation report and public hearing in the location near the proposed action. As a result of Senate Bill 2372 from the 68th Legislative Assembly in 2023, all water resource districts must join the identified Drain Basin Joint Board as outlined in North Dakota Century Code Section 61, 16.1, 11, subsection 8. Water resource districts can create and own projects, including construction, operation, maintenance, and repair responsibilities. Water resource districts also have dam responsibilities, whether the dam was constructed by the water resource district or not. All dams located in a water resource district are jurisdictional to the extent the actions do not conflict with state oversight and management responsibilities. All dams in a water resource district constructed by or with the assistance of any federal agency that are not maintained or operated by a federal agency become the responsibility of the water resource district. The water resource district may then take any action afforded any other dam owner. In the development and funding of projects, water resource districts have multiple potential opportunities for funding. Water resource districts also can assess project costs, leverage mill levies, and participate in other federal and state grant and loan programs. Other funding mechanisms include the State Water Commission's Cost Share Program, where the water resource districts engage with the department's planning division on the potential for State Water Commission grant eligibility and approval. The North Dakota Legislative Assembly may also earmark certain projects for funding via pass-through dollars appropriated to the State Water Commission. Regulating projects is also a key shared role between the department and water resource districts. The two key permitting functions are the permitting of surface drains and water management works, such as dams, dikes, and other devices. For a surface drain, the process includes the permitting of any drain with a surface watershed of 80 acres or more. The process is generally a state-local process where the permit application is first submitted to the department for review of statewide or interdistrict significance, focusing on downstream effects. The application is then sent to the local water resource district for review and approval. Those projects found by the department to be of statewide or interdistrict significance, if approved by the water resource district, are then returned to the department for final review and approval. For construction permits, the process includes the permitting of low hazard dams impounding over 50 acre-feet of water, medium and high hazard dams impounding over 25 acre-feet of water, dikes protecting an occupied residence or structure, dikes protecting public infrastructure, and dikes protecting over 80 acres of agricultural land. The construction process is a state-local state engagement whereby the application is first submitted to the department. The department then provides the district where the project is located 45 days to provide comments on the project, and the department then considers the comments in conducting final review of the application. The department's statewide or interdistrict significance permit application review focuses on the impacts and implications of drainage projects that transcend the jurisdictional boundaries or perspectives of local water management. Likewise, the department's construction permit review is focused on public safety and protection of life in relevant water management considerations. To help aid applicants and the general public's understanding of the department's application of these responsibilities, the department has created multiple policies related to the surface drainage and construction permitting decision-making process and review processes, and can be found on the agency's website. As far as local and state areas of focus, the duties are often split in a local-state partnership. Some local responsibilities are the development of assessment projects, subsurface water management regulation, surface drain permitting, water-related complaints, and general water management. Currently, the Department of Water Resources responsibilities include appeals of some water resource district decisions, surface drain permitting of statewide or interdistrict significance, construction permitting, and navigable water management. We mention navigable water management here as some projects, such as those along the Missouri River, the Red River, or the Mouse River, to name a few, require sovereign land permitting perspectives. The Department of Water Resources also develops stream crossing and watercourse determinations independent of water resource district review, but in most cases at a water resource district's request. The department created North Dakota Administrative Code Chapter 89-15 in 2024 to help aid in the watercourse determination process. Again, district responsibilities are centered around local perspectives and impacts, such as addressing landowner concerns, commenting on proposed construction projects, general water management and water-related project development, and the general directive for broad surface water management jurisdiction. The department, again in cooperation with local partners, manages the dam safety program, acts in an advisory role to districts, tracks subsurface water management permits issued by districts, develops policies and guidelines to aid in efficient resource management, like the creation of the 2024 update to North Dakota's dam safety standards, and the appropriation of the state's waters. The department also acts in an education, technical, and liaison role in supporting communities who participate or are looking to participate in the National Flood Insurance Program. One of the large bandwidth authorities of districts are the planning, development, creation, and maintenance of assessment projects. The most common assessment projects are drainage projects. But districts can also develop assessment projects for dams and flood control as well. During the 68th Legislative Assembly, 2 chapters of North Dakota Century Code that articulated assessment project authority and procedure were merged into one. This was the focus and work of the 67th Legislative Assembly's Interim Water Drainage Committee. Next, we will look into the oversight and accountability of water resource districts. All water resource district board members are appointed by the county commission and are a county unit of government. As a result, water resource district members are primarily accountable to their county commission and constituents of the county. There are 2 primary mechanisms to appeal a water resource district decision, either to the department in limited situations or to district court, available for any order or decision of a district. As noted, any order or decision of a district is appealable to district court in a broad sense. There are also specific appeal opportunities for orders to establish or deny a drain and obstruction to a drain or watercourse complaints that also go directly to district court. The appeals to the department are currently much more limited, focusing on certain aspects of the assessment project development process and appeals regarding regulatory oversight complaints. Assessment project appeals focus on the appeal of no benefit, which any landowner assessed can appeal, the assessment of project costs and project design, which requires at least 33% of assessed landowners to appeal. The regulatory complaint appeals focus on determining whether the subject project of the appeal required a North Dakota Century Code codified permit or not. It is worth mentioning that any decision of the department is eligible for administrative review and is likewise appealable to district court. This chart provides a high-level overview of certain decision and appeal pathways and when or if the department is eligible to be a part of the decision review expedition.
Before we bring our journey home, the department would like to address certain frequently asked questions on some of the roles and responsibilities discussed today. Does the DWR oversee all actions of a district? Generally, no. The DWR does not have authority over all WRD actions. WRDs are independent political subdivisions with their own powers and authorities. As mentioned earlier, there are limited cases where WRD decisions can be appealed to the department. Who owns a particular dam or dams in my county? A dam may be owned by a private individual, a state or local entity, or a federal agency. WRDs do own many dams in North Dakota. Ownership may depend in part on who built the dam or who owns the land, but also any agreements that are in place for construction, operation, and maintenance of the dam, as well as who obtained the construction permit and water permit for the dam. The DWR tracks the best information we have available regarding the ownership of dams in the state. But often it's not clear who has the primary responsibility for a dam among multiple involved parties. Sometimes what is available in our records is not necessarily complete or definitive. It's important to understand that what we list in our database is not a legal determination of ownership or responsibility and is provided as a public courtesy as received. Who has authority over the department? The DWR is a cabinet-level agency of the governor's office. The department works closely with the governor's office on water resource-related issues and decisions. The department is also accountable to all citizens and political subdivisions in North Dakota, as any department decision may be appealed. Is the DWR going to fix a particular dam? DWR's Dam Safety Program conducts dam inspections and provides recommendations to dam owners regarding necessary maintenance and repairs. Dam maintenance and repairs are the responsibility of the dam owner. For some projects, funding to assist with dam safety repairs may be available through the SWC's Cost Share Program, or assistance may be available from the DWR's construction crew in a limited capacity. However, it is ultimately the responsibility of the dam owner to initiate and pursue a repair project, and to request eligible assistance. What are sovereign lands? Sovereign lands are the lands within a navigable water body. The concept of public sovereignty or public domain can be found throughout history dating back to the Roman Empire. The public trust doctrine was rooted from the English common law, where the monarch owned the beds of a navigable water body, ensuring public access to all for navigation or fishing, for example, and protecting it from privatization. The United States adapted and continued the protection of sovereign lands within the navigable water bodies. At the time of statehood, the U.S. relinquished management, and North Dakota took over the protection and management of these public sovereign lands within the state under the equal footing doctrine. What are navigable waters and who manages these waters? Throughout history, humans have used rivers, streams, lakes, and oceans as a means of transportation, moving resources, and connecting civilizations. The Roman Empire not just utilized, but also realized that these waterways needed management and protection for the use of trade, transportation, and military movement. In later years, the English adapted a similar model of recognizing and protecting these water bodies that were essential to the way of life. When the United States became a country, our government followed a similar model in protecting the navigable water bodies that were being used for commerce, transportation, or movement of resources for the citizens of the country. As the states were created, the U.S. handed over this management to the states. Since the 51st Legislative Assembly in 1989, the North Dakota Department of Water Resources has had the responsibility of managing and protecting the 17 identified navigable water bodies on behalf of current and future citizens of North Dakota. The department's determination and management of navigability is not a taking, and the department's efforts are relentlessly reviewed for defensible adjudication of this monumental responsibility. It is the state of North Dakota's responsibility to manage this public asset for the citizens to remain accessible to all as a public highway and protect the resources these waters provide while preventing privatization. With that, our watershed thread journey is now complete. Thank you for taking the time to tune in on all of the happy little differences that comprise a part of the overall water management landscape in North Dakota. If you have any questions or would like to follow up with any of the information presented today or throughout the watershed thread, please reach out to the department and a dedicated water management champion will be happy to assist you.